Hey, welcome to Cancel Comedy. And what I said, I'll see you on the next one if we're not canceled. Yo, what up, guys? Welcome to Cancel Comedy with Ari Gold. In this show, I'm going to talk about dating, just like the title says, why I'm not dating right now and why I'm not married. I say, guys, let's get to the show. Okay, so lately I've noticing like many people are like complaining about, hey, like the dating world is like kind of fucked. What the fuck? Like people are just demanding so much. And I'm telling them, dude, I'm like, it's not really fucked. Like, trust me, like I'm an empath, so I can tell the energy I see many people, especially females. Like most of my clients are females because they are in that space more. And so when I meet them, I can see them. I even hear their feedback. Like they are super masculine and they want guys to do things for them that no guy ever will actually comply with, unless they really are kind of like the wild and the naughty ones that kind of don't know if they're straight or gay, right? So like speaking from experience, guys, I'm gonna just tell you that story why I'm not dating. Because the past few that I dated, it was just fucking insane. Like I almost felt like I was a victim in their kind of it was almost like they were dating me to practice their rage, their revenge of some kind. It's almost like they were in a revenge mode where I was like their, not a victim, but I was like their prey, if you will. Like here's how crazy it was. So let's say I was dating this girl, right? So last girl that I dated, she was this cool Latinx girl. That's the new bullshit term, Latinx. What the fuck, right? Seriously, right? And she was really awesome, actually. I met her in Coachella, which is the best place to meet a girl, drugged out and everything. None of us were drugged out. It was just, everyone else is drugged out. But I met her and she was really cool. And then she kind of felt that she needed to get me in the corner while we had some alcohol, etc. It's Coachella. Like we didn't really, use drugs just because we're like, we just didn't use drugs. But many people did. As you probably know, Coachella is like freaking Molly world, right? So this girl, guys, and her friend, there were two friends. They just like found me in Coachella. Like, hey, do you have a room? Can we just stay with you, because we came to Coachella with the car and we didn't book anything because everything's sold out. Everything is super priced out. They're like maxed out. I was like, sure. So, and I had a really cool villa. Like everything was manifested. I was like, I'm gonna meet some cool people and they're gonna come through. We're gonna have like a great weekend. And it was a long story short, guys. So we're literally like, we had fun. I just kind of told them where I was staying at, which was like a really cool villa, like a really nice suite, like super nice, and they just came through, and we're just having fun, guys. And these people were just like, I'm not gonna judge them because they are like who they are, but they really wanted to do things to me that I was like, dude, I feel like, it's not even for YouTube, so I'm not gonna say everything, but it came to a point where I felt like I was the prey, even though I'm very masculine, but I feel like they were like hunting me down in a way, like not in a bad way, but they're trying to do things to me, like experiment things on me, almost like I was the fucking the prey, like I was a deer, and they're trying to like peg me. I'm like, dude, first of all, like you did not hunt me down, like maybe they did actually, I don't even know, but definitely they didn't kill me when they try to peg me. I don't know if you know what that is. I don't want to go into it because it's YouTube, don't want to be censored. But they try to do things to me that is a kind of a trend now. I'm sure if you Google what is pegging for males, you'll know. I don't want to say the rest. But that's what they're trying to do, guys. And I'm like, no, thanks. I'm like, I told the girl and they were laughing. I was like, I do not want to be pegged like I was just hunted like a bird or some kind of an animal like a deer, and now you're like pegging me on the wall, you know? Like, I'm not your fucking prey. And they were like, dude, this is fun, trust me, you're gonna love it. And I'm like, I do not want to. I'm like, maybe your last boyfriend pegged you or just did some stuff to you, you know, from the backyard, you know? Just let's just put it in like a friendly mode there. But I do not want to be your next prey where you're going to like practice shit on me, you know? I mean, God knows what they had in their purse. I mean, I'm glad I didn't even go there. But they were just like, let's just say they were just there to make sure that I guess, not enjoyed it, but that they almost like wanted to fool me into assuming that was just part of the way they would like sleep with guys. And that was kind of like the entrance to allowing, it was almost like they thought that by giving me the fucking Willy Wonka ticket, which was really not like the Willy Wonka ticket, it was more like a ticket to Fucktown, where things happen and you don't get the whole chocolate and everything. I guess you get that in some sort of way, but it wasn't really like a chocolate like that you can actually eat. They're trying to do things that Willy Wonka doesn't even do. Even though they're giving me the Willy Wonka ticket, they're selling me. They're really good in sales. They're trying to sell me a Willy Wonka ticket, the golden ticket, to go to Fucktown under the kind of like almost like a reverse the Willy Wonka, where I was taken to Fucktown where I was going to be fucked in a nice to put in a wrong way that guys don't usually get, you know, kind of like pegging, like I said the word. But at the same time, I was not even going to get any chocolate from Willy Wonka at all. Instead, some chocolate was going to come out from somewhere. That's all I'm going to say. And you can just use your imagination. So that's what they're trying to tell me, guys. And I was like, dude, trust me, I know these people because I've been through with a few like days here and there before that they did try that, and I was like, no thanks. Like, I'm not going to fall for that, because once you fall for pegging, guys, if you're out there, I'm sure you know, once you fall for pegging, you are going to Fucktown. And Fucktown, like I said, it is not a Willy Wonka. And the Fucktown little voucher that you get from them, it's not a happy place. It's a place where, unless you are trans or gay, it's totally fine. You'll probably be okay with that. But if you're super straight, like I am, you can't. Like, it doesn't feel normal, you know? But if you do like that shit, then all the love for you, boo, you know? Just do your thing. But anyway, guys, so that's literally why I have not dated for a while now. It's been like, since COVID, it's been like 2 years. But the girl that I was dating before that, like I was mentioning, guys, like they literally were trying to like hunt me down and peg me like I was a fucking an animal, you know, which is really sad. It's even funny because after that we went to steak the next day and we had some steak. Well, I didn't have steak back then. was that vegetarian? I was a vegetarian back then, but now I'm vegan. So we went to a steakhouse and I got my mashed potatoes with some like asparagus, because that's kind of like my thing, with some whiskey. I had whiskey back then. Now I don't drink alcohol anymore as much, actually at all, but once in a while, sure. And they literally, guys, had their steak and everything, and that question came out. They're like, hey, I'm really surprised that you don't like the whole like pegging. Like, many guys actually love that, and because that's where your G spot is, etc., etc. And I've said, not trying to get there again. It's YouTube, but and I was like, hey, I'm like, do you guys know that the fact that we're eating this steak right now, someone had to kill this animal for you to eat this cow, you know, because you steak, use beef. And they're like, okay, what is your point? I'm like, well, you didn't kill me, so why would you want to peg me and eat me? Like, I understand you feel like you kind of killed me, you kind of hunted me down in Coachella, and you got like a room and board and food and everything paid for, because that's just the way that I am. I just pay for everything. I'm not a simp, but I don't like to have people have to pay for things, because then they're going to say, hey, now I have control. So I'm more like, I like to pay just to not hear from them, you know, whether it's a guy or a girl. Okay, so they literally were trying to peg me like it was the end of the world. And the saddest part is, I guess they didn't get the memo that Ari does not like to be stuffed like a Thanksgiving turkey before Thanksgiving, especially. Like, in general, I don't like to be stuffed, you know what I mean? That's just kind of a thing. I'm just straight, you know, I'm just, with respect, of course, to everyone else. But like, I do not like to be a turkey when it's only fucking June. That's when I was at Coachella, or May. Was it May or June? I think it was like May. Anyways, literally, guys, they were trying to have an early Thanksgiving on my behalf. I was like, dude, I do not want to partake in that, bitch, because I do not want to be your bitch. And don't forget that during the pegging, there's disbursement of other shit that comes out, kind of like an ATM, but instead of money, it's shit. You know, just like my shirt, how it says "make shit happen." It's not really about that. And it's funny though, because I was actually wearing this shirt at Coachella, and good thing that they didn't ask me, hey, I thought you wanted to make shit happen. What the fuck happened? I was like, what do you mean what the fuck happened? You mean my shirt? Yeah, my friend's brand called Creative Toilet, make shit happen. It does not mean I have to make my shit happen for your sake, because that's your shit. You know what I mean? That's your thing. It's just fucking insane, guys. The way like females think these days, it's almost like they have been so burned by so many guys in different ways that they're on this like revenge mode, like kind of like Rage Against the Machine, but Rage Against Ari. Literally, I don't want to go too like off subject here, and I digress. But like, they really want to almost like feel, what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost like they're trying to be in power, to feel like, yeah, even though those 10, 20 guys F me over from the backstage, right? Let's just put it that way. I'm going to suffice my vengeance on Ari because he's a chill guy. I'm like, yeah, I'm chill. I wear like crystals and shit, but it does not mean that I'm like open doors to, you know what? You know what I mean? It's just fucking insane, guys. Anyways. Guys, and the biggest trap that you should never fall for is when a girl asks you, hey, like while you're like, you know, like making love or whatever you're doing, foreplay, so etc., without getting too deep. If they ask you like, hey, can you touch here, can you touch there? Be really careful, because if you touch there and she says, hey, do you like that? Obviously, if you're a guy and if you're straight, it doesn't matter what sex you're actually, doesn't matter. If you enjoy that, you're gonna say like, yeah, it feels good, right? Just to kind of like, I guess, like satisfy her, etc., just to get in the mood, right? And that's the trap, guys. Literally, if you tell them that you love pegging them, that's like touching them in the back place, right? Or you like anything else that involves around that area, or you actually do anything in that area that they ask you to, then that's when you really get fucked, because it's a total trap. Because then they tell you, hey, you did this, and what about equality? What about this? What about that? They literally bring the equality game inside the bedroom. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? They're like, hey, you did this, and I enjoyed it. I know, but I'm sure you enjoyed it more. Now you gotta do what I want to enjoy, to be satisfied, I guess. And so I gotta do you now. So that's the biggest trap, guys. I forgot to tell you that earlier. That is literally the biggest fucking trap. When they ask you to do anything for them, then they make it out to be like you wanted to do that for them. Now it is their turn, because there's equality. So they're trying to bring that political equality game into the lovemaking, romance, whatever you want to call that. You know, like foreplay, mingling, whatever you want to call that. They are bringing that. It's such a fucking trap. And many people that I know fell for that, and they had to break up with the person, because the girl was like, yeah, you know, I'm not really feeling this. It feels like it's a one-way street. What about two-way street? I'm like, bitch, just because we're on the fucking street, it does not mean you can rear-end me. Because you know how, like, whenever you rear-end anyone on the street or free, whatever, it is your fault. I'm like, it doesn't mean you can rear-end me, and then I have to say that I love it, because by law, it was you that got me from the back. I didn't really want it, you know, meaning I did not propose that idea. I did not entertain that idea. You're the one that brought it up because you wanted that to be done to yourself. And now you are proposing that I wanted that. So therefore, I need to also take it for the team of you, like your team, meaning I have to also be okay with the backdoor action when I'm super straight. And I did not propose that. You wanted that. And now you want me to do that as well, because in some magical, mysterious way, or in your fantasy world, in your fuck town, I guess you want to call it, like bring that back, Willy Wonka, you assume that you're going to get that out of me by rear-ending me just because you want it to be rear-ended. That's literally, or touch, whatever. That's exactly what a trap is. And when that happens, guys, that's a signal, it's a hint for you to GTFO, get the fuck out, literally, because that's not going to go anywhere far. It's either my way, you're going to love this, or we are done. And that's when you're going to be like, oh my God, I guess, if you're a softie. But for me, I was like, dude, I never actually even wanted that. And you weren't even that cool to begin with. I was just trying to satisfy you. So fuck off. You know what I mean? Anyways, yeah. So that's pretty much a trap that, guys, that you have to know that when it's going there, even if they tell you like, hey, I just want to touch it for a second, you know, etc. That's not really just touching. Then they're going to go, I don't want to say from experience because someone actually almost went there, like that girl, but I stopped just because there were two girls. I couldn't stop them both. So one of them almost went there and I was like, stop. Yeah, I just put the red flag, kind of like a referee at a soccer game at the World Cup. And I was like, you're out, you know, which is another hilarious story. I'll tell you in a different show, guys. But that girl, guys, from that trip, I dated the one girl, not both, because I don't do two girls, you know, even though that's kind of cool, maybe, sure. But like it never works out. So I'm like, yeah, just one girl at a time is kind of like my preference. I know it's not very popular, but it is what it is. Take it or leave it. Yeah, guys. So this girl I was dating, and she was like the most low maintenance person ever, which is really cool. I could have literally bought her a fucking Mickey D's, and she would be like, babe. I'm like, yeah, I love you. I'm like, oh, thanks. Love you too, boo. You know, it was just the most craziest thing. Like, it's like she was the most low maintenance. And then, of course, me being a stupid fuck, because I am sometimes, I like to kind of buy things for people. Like, I'm just like that kind of person. I like to be like, hey, you wanted that laptop all your life. I have one here, you know, here, just have it, you know, like I'm not even using it. So she kind of like started to kind of take advantage of me. Anyways, talking about dating again, so that we are still on the same subject. And she wanted to get married. I was like, dude, the fuck? We've only been together for less than 8 months. And she lived in like far away, like 40 miles away. So I had to kind of drive there to see her. So I wasn't seeing her every day. And then I found out that she was like a ratchet. She was like a groupie ratchet. And so I was like, how do you pay her back for being a ratchet and not being honest with you? I guess she was like a kind of a groupie for like a lot of celebrities. You know, she would just go and just party by herself with her friends, to be there like kind of like one of their girls, you know, whatever. So I was like, whatever. I'm glad I wasn't like with her like that long sexually. So anyways, long story short, guys, it was September and that thing happened in Mandalay Bay. That was literally the last girl that I dated. And she wanted me to actually go there, and she was staying next to Mandalay Bay. I can't remember which hotel. I think it was like New York. She wasn't far from her. You know, she was actually walking on the street when that happened. And so she wanted me to go, but I didn't go because I was like, no, we were already like breaking up. I already knew that she was pretty much doing me wrong in the back, you know, like backstabbing and etc. So I stopped calling her, guys, and then she didn't call me. And then September, and the same time, my parents were going through divorce, which was like a fucking insane time. Crazy times, guys, crazy times, right? Crazy times. And so she called me like a week. I think that's Sunday or Monday, or I think it was Monday or Tuesday after that weekend. And she was like, hello. I was like, hey. She was like, you didn't even call to check. You know what happened. I know you do, because you always like watch the news or have sources, etc. I was like, yeah, I know what happened. She's like, you didn't even call to like check on me. You know, like I really, and she had this like little voice like, I really loved you until then. But after that, I was like, Ari, sorry, I cannot really forgive you with this one. I was like, who's asking for forgiveness? I told you we're done before Vegas trip. I was like, we're done. I don't want to be your side guy when you have other, you know, like party guys that just chill with at like high-end freaking like boots, you know, whatever clubs. And anyways, she thought I was an idiot, but I was just because we were so far from each other. Like she was doing her thing, and I had no idea. So she had this really like a kind of a like a I guess a gullible or some very persuasive voice, like, you know, like, I really loved you, but after this, I don't know if I can forgive you, etc. I was like, who's looking for forgiveness? If anything, I told you it's over, and you wanted to go and do your more shit with some of your friends, supposedly girls. where I know you're going to be in a booth doing some guy, whatever, right? Even though she wasn't doing, but she was just enough. Like, I was like, no thanks. I like to be number 1, not number 2 or 10, you know. And she was like, well, why didn't you even call me? I was like, I was actually hoping that you were at that place, and since you didn't call, I was hoping that something happened to you. So I was like, so anyways, I'm gonna leave that, guys. I don't want to go too deep, but it's kind of a dark humor there. As you can probably guess what I was telling her.
A few moments later.
And then she kept on talking. I was like, sorry, but I don't speak ratchet anymore. I used to speak when I was with this girl, and I was like meaning her, but I just stopped speaking ratchet. And she was like, oh my God, did you just say that you wished I was this from that event? I was like, yeah, I was hoping, but I guess that hope can only be hope, right? It didn't happen. So goodbye.
A few moments later.
And then she called me like a few times, but I didn't pick up. And then she called me 2 months later in November. This is funny, I know. We were just talking about Thanksgiving. It was like literally on the day of Thanksgiving. She's like, hi. That's how she talks. And I was like, hey, who's this? She's like, this is this person. I don't want to mention her name because I don't want to out her. And she's like, how are you? She had this crying voice. And I didn't like say anything else. I was just like letting her talk. And she's like, do you still love me? I was like, okay, do I still love you? I just told you I wish this happened to you, even though I was kidding, of course. But I was like, maybe the universe made that happen, so she'll be away. Because she was a total clinger. No matter what happened, she would never leave me. She was like, oh my God, Ari is so cool. He buys me stuff. He takes care of me. He always pays for dinner. He's a gentleman, I guess she was like a ratchet. So she didn't know anyone that was caring, loving, and also treating her. She only knew the ones that were paying her tabs and saying, bitch, get out. One of those, right? And so she's like, do you still love me? I was like, no. And even though it's Thanksgiving, I was like, I will not let you stuff me like a fucking turkey on this beautiful Thanksgiving day. And I just clicked. And that was all, guys. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the watch, guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Much love. And that's a wrap. Thank you.